Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, a traffic collision under the Canefield Cliff leaves a young man from Petit Savan dead. The Director of Trade reports good progress on resilient crop exports post-Hurricane Maria, and local manufacturers hoping to enlist the Prime Minister's help as they chart the way forward for that sector. The details coming up.
M&J Covering is the producer of designed galvanized and galvalume in Dominica. They design to your specifications, color and length, 4 styles of galvanized and galvalume pre-painted roofing sheets as requested, and supply all your galvalume accessories. M&J Covering helps you control spending and reduce waste. At M&J Covering, they are also equipped to build your roof to precise standards anywhere on island. So come to M&J Covering at 1 Mile in Portsmouth or call 445-5001 275-5003 today.
A young man from Petit Savan lost his life in a tragic accident under the Canefield Cliff on Friday. From what we understand, Nehemiah Daru was riding a scooter when the collision occurred. The 22-year-old was a musician with the Ecstasy Band. We have also learned that he was one of only 2 members of his family who survived Tropical Storm Erica in Petit Savan. There has been a plea by some concerned Dominicans that those who indiscriminately post accident pics on social media should have some consideration for how these graphic pictures impact the victims' families. Dominica's agriculture was devastated by Hurricane Maria a year ago, but exports of local produce has been making a comeback. Director of Trade Mathan Walter has some statistics which could indicate a positive trend in Dominica's exports of certain resilient crops.
If you look at the data from the packing house that government invested monies in so that we can have properly packaged and branded goods that will be transshipped or shipped to the regional and international markets. And right now, the pack house is even focusing on local markets for bananas. Between the months of July to October, they exported about 303,642 pounds of produce from this country. So, just to name a few products: Dashin, 103,394 pounds. Plantains, 74,319 pounds. Hot peppers, 7,835 pounds. Yams, 30,561 pounds. Cucumbers, 1,393 pounds. Bananas, 71,903 pounds. And you have other crops of about 5,123 pounds. And all that is being exported out of Dominica from the hard work of our farmers. So where the agricultural sector is concerned, you can see that there is some performance taking place. We knew immediately after Hurricane Maria that there was some what we constitute to be resilient crops such as Dashin that we were exporting practically immediately after Maria, but not in those kind of quantities that we are right now. And the packing house is projecting, based on the farmers that are engaged with them, that they will be continuing along that trend throughout the rest of the year. So for Dashin, they have a projection in pounds towards the end of the year for about 340,500 pounds of Dashin based on establishment. And I'm just using Dashin as one of the crops and the projections that they have.
More on local exports post-Maria in another newscast. Local manufacturers are awaiting a meeting with the Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, to determine the way forward for that sector.
President of the Dominica Manufacturers Association, Severin McKenzie, says just over 1 year after Hurricane Maria, things are still dismal for local manufacturing. He says following Hurricane Maria, the association submitted a revised proposal to government to help get the sector back on its feet.
The main focus of our revised proposal was to encourage government to look at the manufacturing facilities that could easily be brought back on stream after the hurricane so that we could start back production. And this required at least governments giving some consideration to loan refinancing for manufacturers at the aid bank and maybe other institutions, but primarily at the aid bank. The government took a look at the revised proposal that we submitted and then relaunched the $15 million facility since December 2017.
The DMA boss says one of the main problems affecting the rebounding of the sector is access to the $15 million loan facility at the aid bank.
The problem with the access to the funds for manufacturing is the same problem that the persons in the tourism industry have in accessing, which is the question of refinancing. That if you have an existing loan for your facility and the facility was damaged from the hurricane, it is not possible to access 2% loan while you have the existing loan to service. So there must be some level of consideration for the restructuring of those loans.
Mackenzie says following Hurricane Maria, meetings have been held with numerous officials, but there has been no positive feedback or direction to guide the industry forward.
We have had meetings with the aid bank, we have had meetings with the Minister of Commerce, the Ministry of Trade, and all the various ministries, and it appears that all of them are hopeless in being able to give some direction as to what type of assistance is available. So our final attempt is to meet with the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance to find out exactly what is happening with the manufacturing sector and how can manufacturers access this $15 million that is available, or that was made available, or that is supposed to be available at the aid bank for the manufacturing sector.
According to Mackenzie, before Hurricane Maria, the DMA had a membership of 33. He says at this point, the association has virtually no members.
The Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association is increasing its efforts towards developing the country's tourism product, assisting a recently formed hospitality group in the north.
The Portsmouth Hospitality Association has been in existence for approximately 6 months and aims to get landlords and other tourism stakeholders in the north to work together in order to realize significant benefits. Executive Vice President of the Dominica Hotel and the Tourism Association, Kevin Francis, says the DHTA is working closely with this new association to help it become more efficient in its mandate.
Portsmouth, the closure of Ross is going to have a significant impact on the area and a significant impact on the property owners over there. They recently formed an association to organize themselves, the Portsmouth Hospitality Association. And since their formation, we've been working very closely with them to ensure that they are effective. You know, as a new association, a new organization, there are certain things that they need to get in place. The DHTA is helping with that, also helping them with their advocacy, giving them some tips and methods, ways, resources that they can use to push their efforts as well. So that also remains something very important for the DHTA, and we're trying our best to nurture this young association so that it can be very effective for the Portsmouth area.
Francis says the DHTA is committed to helping hospitality and other tourism-related groups develop so that a better product can be offered to visitors.
By no means we have a monopoly on the tourism industry, right? We definitely work with everybody to ensure that they're all successful, and if that means working with the Portsmouth Hospitality Association, as well as other smaller groups coming in, we'll be more than happy to oblige. We remain open. Yes, we, like many other private sector businesses are operating at a limited capacity. We plan on changing that soon, but no problem is too big or too small for our members. So we definitely continue to put ourselves out there for our members.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more news after the break.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, galvanized and fence pipe. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Minister for Education and Member of Parliament for La Plaine constituency says the reconstruction of schools in the southeast is progressing despite some hiccups.
Honorable Peter Seja says while all schools are up and running in the area, they are not in the best of conditions.
The Grandford Primary School, we have 2 contractors on site at this point, and we are redoing the roof of certain sections of the school, albeit sessions are ongoing in one section of the school, and I just appeal to the people to be patient and forbearing, recognizing that the work has to be done. In Monjon, originally the Monjon school was located or relocated to the Riviere Civic Pentecostal Church, but in the new school term, we moved back to the old Monjon Primary School site. We are using one section of the building, which is relatively small, to house the entire school.
A contractor is currently on site at the Monjon Primary School, and the Guadeloupe-based group, Coreca, is also assisting with repairs to one section of the school. The Monjon Primary School also is set to benefit from a Canadian-funded upgrade project. As regards the Jones Beaupere Primary School, Mr. Seja says yet another contractor is working on that renovation project.
I'm pleased to announce that we have a contractor on site at La Plaine. He has completed one wing of the school, and since the population is not very large, they are currently using the completed section of the school under the administrative and home ec sections. He's currently doing the southern wing, and we anticipate within 2 weeks that will be completed. And of course, finally, in Delis was impacted by Maria, but thankfully in Delis, we have a combination of a deck, a concrete deck, and galvanized roof. So there is a galvanized roof above the concrete deck. The galvanized roof was impacted, and of course, windows and other works. Delis also is one of the schools that will be addressed under one of our major projects, and so we anticipate that the project will commence within short time.
2 medical doctors of Dominican parentage are giving back in terms of helping to educate diabetics. Trauma surgeon Dr. Dale Dangleben and Dr. Lisa Jolly teamed up this week to help those suffering from this non-communicable disease by helping make them more knowledgeable. Dr. Dangleben is originally from Point Michel but based in the U.S. Thursday's event was the second in a series of health lectures being conducted here by Dr. Dangleben. Dr. Lisa Jolly is hoping to make a difference in the lives of diabetic patients here as well. Here she is at Thursday's function.
My goal in returning to the Caribbean, I was going to return to the Caribbean anyhow, was to provide care for those who have diabetes. It's a big problem throughout the Caribbean. It wasn't until I was in North Carolina that my mentor told me that Barbados is actually the amputation capital of the world. Their prevalence of diabetes is somewhere close to 18%. In Dominica, we're about between 10 to 12%. However, we see a disproportionate number of amputations, blindness, and kidney failure. So people on dialysis, people who are becoming blind, or people who are losing their limbs due to diabetes. And so my goal is to hopefully I can do something to sort of reduce the chances of developing those complications.
As the Dominica Association of People Living with Disabilities observes its 35th anniversary, the institution is also aware that there is still a long way to go. Executive Director Natalie Murphy has outlined some of the areas where she believes progress has been slow.
We still see around our physical environment of difficulties for persons with mobility impairments and those who are wheelchair users to access the sidewalks in particular. Where there are some sidewalks provided, it is usually taken up as parking spots for vehicles. And so that too, you know, it sort of prevents persons with mobility impairments from getting out there. Those of us, or those who do it, wheelchair users who do it, really have, you know, a lot of guts, and they really have to, you know, go through hard times, difficult times to access the physical environment and public buildings.
Murphy is also trying to bring attention to the needs of those who are visually impaired to help them make important life adjustments.
Blind and visually impaired people still find it difficult to obtain, you know, rehabilitation and adjustment to blindness services, because when one loses his sight, you know, it's a traumatic experience. You might have to be retrained, you have to learn different things over, and we do not have the facilities there to really cater to the needs of persons who are blind and visually impaired.
As part of the DAPD's anniversary activities, World Sight Day will be observed on October 11. The Dominica Association of People Living with Disabilities, DAPD, will pay tribute to the organization's founder, the late Reginald Rolle, later this month. The DAPD has designated Friday, October 26 as Reginald Rolle Day on the anniversary calendar. In a tribute to Reggie, President Irma Raymond Joseph looked back at how the late DAPD founder was sometimes perceived as he pressed on in his fight for the rights of people with disabilities.
While Reggie, as he was affectionately called, was firm in his conviction and passionate in his endeavors, he encountered much opposition and disdain by those who found him to be too aggressive, too outspoken, too bold, and too forthright, hence becoming a very controversial figure. He, however, remained firm, determined, strong-willed, and focused in his desire to see the creation of a Dominica where persons with disabilities would no longer be treated as second-class citizens, but enjoy all the rights, opportunities, and status as any other citizen.
Joseph says Rolle's consistent advocacy and raising awareness enabled many with disabilities to become empowered and grow in confidence and self-esteem. She says Mr. Rolle's struggle prior and up to his death in 2003 paved the way for others with disabilities.
Loic Charles successfully went through mainstream education and is now a student at a university in the United States, the first one ever. Some schools now make provisions for mobility impaired persons to access their physical environment, though limited. The government of Dominica ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Some public buildings have constructed ramps for easier access to their facilities. The Multipurpose Development Center will soon be completed with the construction of the auditorium. Hooray to Reggie. Reggie, your legacy lives on.
Joseph says Mr. Rolle championed the cause of people with disabilities locally, regionally, and internationally for 20 years.
There are signs everywhere. Pay attention whether you're male or female. Visit your health center to get screened. It's a preliminary test to determine if you are exposed to the HIV virus, an STI, or tuberculosis. Some people who are HIV positive also have tuberculosis. But there's hope. Tuberculosis can be cured. And yes, you can live a full life with HIV. Talk to your doctor. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB, HIV. Encourage everyone to get tested.
To end the news, a look again at the headlines. A traffic collision under the Canefield Cliff leaves a young man from Pitt Savan dead. The Director of Trade reports good progress on resilient crop exports post-Hurricane Maria, and local manufacturers hoping to enlist the Prime Minister's help as they chart the way forward for that sector. Feel free to contact us at news@mapping2k4.com. You can access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Do have a good weekend.